Yeah, so welcome back, Aide. And actually, well, it did rain here in Abuja as well, but not as heavy this morning as it is in Lagos. But, you know, that's what we get to see. But then, guys, we're going to go right ahead through some of the dailies here this morning. And so we've got Yusuf Olaniyonu, who joins us this morning. He's a former Sunday editor of This Day newspapers. Good to see you. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, so we'll start with New Telegraph today, and look at that. Pass, FG wants lecturers ordered back to work, refers ASU strike to industrial court to determine legality of ongoing industrial action. If union members are entitled to strike pay, so still insisting on the no work, no pay. And then you see students set up want courts to declare FG's refusal to meet lecturers' demands illegal. So it does appear as though, while many at the point had thought that we were coming to an end or conclusion to this matter, now you have FG back to court. So how is this supposed to play out now?
Well, I think that some statesmen, some leaders of this country, particularly some leaders of the ruling party outside the government, need to all come together and intervene in this. This is going beyond what anybody could ever have comprehended for this country. The students will stay at home for more than 7 months. They've lost an entire session, and we are going back and forth on negotiation. We are going back and forth on going to court. I still envisage a situation where the court will give an order or the court will give a judgment, and you still have one of the two fielding sides
not obeying it.
Wow. That's what will happen eventually, because even in law, it is said that you cannot compel an unwilling employer to work for an unwilling employee to work for an employer. You cannot compel an unwilling employer to engage an unwilling employee. So, I mean, you still have to find another way of the two sides to sit down. And I think that it's going beyond the two sides now. It's gone beyond the students. The students are even helpless. Their parents are helpless. What we need now are people who say they are our political leaders, the religious leaders, and all of them, to go to form a committee, form a body, and intervene, and speak with the government. What kind
of impact will that have, anyways? Because I mean, if government or ASUs feel that they haven't gotten to that point where they need to yield, will that committee make them yield?
No, this time around, it's not for the committee to compel any of the two sides. Just like the court eventually may also be able to compel any of the two sides. What the intervention will do, in my own opinion, is to get the two sides to shift ground. The two sides are staying at the extreme ends. Now you need some intervention that will bring the two of them to shift side and come to the middle and agree. Certain things that the government must do, this intervention will get the government to also concede and do it. Certain things that ASU may also need to overlook or say, okay, we can still do with this. ASU will need to also concede on that. I think that's the kind of intervention that we need now.
All right.
But going to court, I don't know. I don't think that you can force those lecturers. If they've stayed home for like 8 months and you are talking of no pay.
Yeah, no work, no pay.
No work, no pay. I don't think you can force them at this point.
Because what wonders, even if the court rules that, assuming the court rules that, well, they're not entitled, and they say, no, we're not going to go back, what happens?
That's what I'm saying, that even the court order or a court judgment will not still force them. It's the same way that government in the past has also, flouted court orders. In the same way, individuals can also flout court orders. Though that is anarchy. It's not showing that we are developing, particularly when we say we have 23 years of democracy. But I think that there should be discussion.
All right. We'll look forward to that and hope they can. We always keep hoping that they can settle some of these matters, because if you think about the students, you only hope and wish that this is addressed longer I mean, as soon as yesterday, in the manner of speaking. You have several other headlines here. Nominating persons with party affiliation for INEC positions wrong, say Sage. But this one at the bottom strip, it broke yesterday and it really raised a lot of concern. Ifeanyi Ubah escapes assassination. Personal aid, 7 others dead. Delta Catholic priest flee as police officer, 4 kidnappers died during scuffle. Terrorists detained mother, newborn in Kaduna forest over 50 million naira ransom. Even though it's still unclear what might have been, what this is about, but the dailies claim it, just say, look, this is a clear assassination attempt. We don't know who or where from.
Well, I hope we are not going back to that dark period when democracy just started immediately after military rule in 1999. You saw a lot of some political assassinations. I hope we are not returning to that era, because we thought we have gone beyond that. What we are dealing with within the political system now, the dark sides that we are dealing with will be vote buying, election rigging, and all those things. And I hope this is not a return to that era. But well, this is just another indication of the fact that the insecurity, the level of insecurity in the country is still very high, that government needs to go beyond reeling out figures of soldiers killing bandits, that in certain areas, particularly in the southern part of the country, there should be more attention given to the level of insecurity.
All right, guys in Lagos, I've got some papers for you as well.
Thank you, Chamberlain. It would seem like there's quite a mix on the front page of the Daily Times concerning that lead story of the New Telegraph. Federal government, ASU, but then there are 2 others in the mix. Look at the lead story on the front page of the Daily Times. Strike. National Industrial Court summons FG ASU. Parties will appear before court today. FG asks courts to order lecturers back to work. And if you look to the left of the paper on your screen, right, somewhere below the page, strike. Serap students sue Buhari, ask court to declare refusal to meet ASU's demands illegal. Well, you've spoken quite copiously about, all of that. I guess we can just leave that there. But look right under the picture on the front page. 2023 election is choice between freedom, doom. That's ascribed to Atiku. The details you find on the front page continues on the inside pages. Is that all, in your opinion, Mr. Olaniyonu? Just choice between freedom and doom, or a lot more for Nigerians to choose from?
I think I want to take your own side. That beyond freedom and what the presidential candidate of the PDP has said, 2023 actually is a turning point for this country. It's a point where we have to decide whether we will have a country or not. It's a point where people, I think, need to decide about, they need to decide on our capacity to revive the economy, our capacity to save ourselves from the non-state actors that are waging war against this country, our capacity as citizens to also to act right, to do what is right, our capacity, as a country to ensure that our best hands don't all leave this country, our capacity to ensure that farmers can farm, without any molestation, without fear of being kidnapped, without fear of being killed. I was listening to somebody to the radio this morning, and somebody was saying that we should allow the rain because the rain is good for the farmers, for food to be grown. And I look at it and say, are people actually growing food in this country again when everybody is afraid of going to the farm because of fear of being kidnapped? So I think it goes beyond some of this sophistry that our politicians want to say. I think now everybody, we need to sit down, those who want to lead us beyond 2023, and I think it's not just the person who wants to be president, also the person who wants to be House of Assembly member, as low as that. Somebody who wants to even be councillor, as low as that. Everybody must look critically at what is this person bringing to the table. What is he capable of doing? What has he done before? how do we save this country? Because the country is dying. Look at the story that you have just mentioned. 7 months, 8 months, 9 months, students are not in school. And a lot of them, I'm reading reports of a lot of them showing despondencies, showing, oh, we are no longer interested in school. School is no longer for me. And a lot of them abandoning school. Somebody who is in medical school is now selling recharge card and thinking that he needn't go back to school. What we are breeding within these 9 months, what this ASU strike and some of the other developments, what we are also breeding is another army that will constitute, a threat to this country. We already have another, an army of insurgents, army of kidnappers, army of ritualists, army of bandits that are waging war against this country. I think we are preparing another army. These ones, they will be educated. That will wage war against this country. And that's why we need to go beyond talking about doom, talking about all this. All the presidential candidates must come critically and convince people, this is what I will do on the economy, this is what I will do on insecurity, this is what I will do on youth employment, this is what I will do to restore even the national values. Even our values are collapsing. Oh, so there are so many things beyond the issue of freedom. I mean, when you don't even have economic freedom, you don't. I mean, who is talking about political freedom? So it's something deeper.
Quite a lot of issues really raised, and if you think you've seen...
What we are confronting now is something very, very deeper.
Right. If you think you've seen all of the stories on the front pages, well, you might need to think again. Up next is Daily Trust newspaper, and this is what you have on the front page of a Daily Trust newspaper this morning. Life pension for HOS, PERMSEX, upsets contributory scheme. In case you're wondering, who's the HOS again? Well, it's the head of service. That's at least that level in the civil service. And you see the riders, perhaps this might give you an insight into that one. How new policy negates constitution. Police professors push for exclusion too. Trend dangerous. Reverse approval. Experts tell Buhari. Just to put a figure to it, you see that that graphics on the front page of a Daily Trust. It shows 577.36 billion naira allocated to pension in 2022 FG budgets. That's a total. And I know there's always back and forth about pension, but this is a new dimension to it. Life pension for level of HOS, PERMSEX. Don't forget we have a contributory scheme on the other hand, which a lot of us subscribe to. And I just wonder, amongst this talk about whether or not federal government has enough money to sort ASU, whether or not they have enough money to fix security and all of that, do you think there's any concern in this one, for you at least?
My only concern, I don't mind paying them this pension that you're talking about, but first, you have to look at what is their contribution, what is the level and value of their contribution to building the nation, building the economy, having a good economy, having a good social welfare system, having a good, providing good governance. I think that before doing this, the government should first get to the end of this Olaniyonu report. You are doing a civil service reform on one end. Without completing that, you are talking of contributing. I think everything should be, there should be a whole package. The review of pension, it should be part of the package. The kind of public service that we have now, particularly the civil service that we have now, is it adequate? Is it good enough for having a strong economy? Is it good enough for service delivery to the people? Is it good enough for reforming the country, restructuring the country? Is it good enough for helping the country to defeat all the forces that are against it? I think that reform of the public service, of the civil service, is important first. This contributing, this pension thing it should just be part of it. It should not be treated as an isolated case. You are doing another report, which is to restructure the public service. We have not seen the end of it. We have not seen the implementation going on, and then you are starting another pension scheme. You are also reviewing. In the same way they are reviewing the pension scheme now. They've also reviewed what they call the allowances that the civil servants they get when they travel.
The Esther code?
The Esther code, yeah, both
upward or downward?
No, upward. Both the Esther code and
dear.
yes, both the Esther code and the one that you even get here, the one that you get when you travel out of station.
Wow.
That has also been reviewed. That has also been upped. So you see, you are doing things in isolation. Why don't you take everything as a package? What is the contribution of these workers to having a solid economy?
Okay, let's take a look at the Guardian next. Ekiti, Osun polls. More questions trail INEC's server hacking claims. This is a big one for a lot, for the country as well. Look at the riders. Oni, we are vindicated. Ekiti election came short of what it should be. Cyber attacks, a common phenomenon in digital age, says Awe. No server is hack-proof, says Atcon boss. Nigerians need guarantee 23. I'll go again. Nigerians need guarantee 2023 elections will be free, fair. Amadi Owaje insists. Development a danger capable of stirring post-election crisis, says Okuns. Autumn, FG must not meddle in INEC affairs. NCC, CSIRT alert Nigerians to Google Chrome extension malware. So there's a lot with this, but INEC did say categorically here that yes, there were several attempts to attack it, but they were glad to let the country know that all of them failed. So the results were not compromised. It's just a viewing portal.
And we're also happy that they are assuring us that there was no compromise. And we hope that this assurance will take us to 2023 and beyond. You see, the 2023 election is so important to this country. It's important to this country because we are now at the teters. It's just what we need to do, what we need now, and God will not allow that to happen. It's a tip, and then we are down the cliff. And a lot of hope is invested in 2023. And we just hope that things like technology, human failures, unnecessary intervention or interference will not sabotage that process. Because when that process is sabotaged, it will be difficult to...
It suggests that the process is working. And so someone to sabotage that process by trying to hack it so that Nigerians don't get to view the results real time. But INEC says that failed. So that is a very good one. So I guess, of course, we'll keep tabs, and naturally there'll be more questions for any INEC official or wherever journalists get them, I reckon. Guys?
Well, thank you, Chamberlain. Daily Independence is next, and this is what you have on its front page. I'm sorry, it doesn't look very, very impressive on your personal pockets, but this is what it looks like on the front page of Daily Independent this morning. CBN kicks as banks feed fat on excess charges, illegal debits. Find the details of that on the inside pages. It continues on the inside pages of the paper this morning. Well, it is interesting to find out that it is the CBN that is kicking now. I don't know, what's your take on it? I'm pretty sure that you're kicking as well.
Of course, since bank is an inevitable part of our daily lives, I think that CBN should do its work very well.
Which one? Sanction them or what?
No, you know, number one, the necessary supervision that CBN should give the banks, I think they are not doing it. Everybody has one thing to complain about. And how can CBN now become part of the complainants? No, they shouldn't. They have now discovered certain trend that is ugly. They should check it. They should check it. They should penalize whoever needs to be penalized. They should remove whoever needs to be removed from the bank. They have that power. We are almost helpless. We who save money, who put our money in the banks, and who go to the bank for loan or for one service or the other, we are helpless. But we believe that the Federal Central Bank is representing us, and it is there with all the instruments of law to deal with the situation. So the central bank shouldn't be appearing helpless or complaining. We should see that the central bank said, oh, we have discovered this trend, so and so person have been penalized, so institutions have been dealt with. That's what we want to hear.
And it's important
that all these things are done because, you see, outsiders are looking at one of the reasons why our economy is suffering is because our institutions don't seem to be working or working the way they should be working.
All right, let's flip to this one.
Is a very vital institution.
Let's just hope that the CBN is taking notes right now on that one. Look at under the picture on the front page of Daily Independent this morning. 2 weeks after, most foreign airlines yet to access trapped funds. And look at the rider. A little concerning. Economy seat now goes for 2 million naira to 5 million naira. How concerning is that?
Please, can you come again?
I said, you know, look at under the picture on the front page of Daily Independent this morning. You have that story. 2 weeks after, most foreign airlines yet to access trapped funds, because that's an ongoing story. But look at the rider. Economy seat now goes for 2 million naira to 5 million naira. How concerning is that?
How concerning is that? You know, though you may say that that's an elite, it should be an elite concern. It's a concern for the elites. But, my God, it's an indication of the fact that everything is just not working in this country. And we pray, and we are not prophets of doom, and we are not people who just want to be saying something bad about our country. But the fact that people have to pay, economy, and people whose children are going abroad, people who have to go abroad for medical treatments, people who have to go for real business, genuine business that will help our economy. You now need to pay 2 million naira for economy. It shows that a lot of things are wrong. And I think that the various regulators, the managers of our economy need to sit tight. They need to be seen to be working. These are very sad indications, and it shows that something very bad is happening to the economy. People have to pay over 2 million naira on economic ticket. The government will say, "Oh, we have already approved so amount of money to be given to the airlines," and then the airlines can't assess it. I mean, whatever is the stumbling block should be removed. Where the aviation minister and all the various people on this matter, the central bank and the other banks, everybody needs to sit tight and work on this. And it's not just this. Even locally, the amount of money that people have to pay for airfare is killing. What people are paying to go from here to London is what people are paying to go from Abuja to Lagos now.
Well, let's quickly run through.
It's very sad.
Well, it's a lot, really.
If I say that it's an elitist consideration or concern, or people to pay as much as 2 million to go to UK or US, how about going from Abuja to Lagos?
Well, big questions there, really. I mean, the elites have their challenges. Every other person really facing one or two things. But as a nation, this is another thing we're faced with. On the front page of the Nigeria News Direct, Nigeria loses $700 million monthly to oil theft. That's coming from NNPCL. You might need to get used to that. That's NNPC Limited. And this is something that has been on for quite some time now. I mean, you talked about the CBN kicking. I mean, when the CBN is a regulator, now the NNPCL, well, they've since morphed into a limited liability company, but still they have a huge role to play. Does it bother you that it seems as though the government, NNPCL, those in charge, don't seem to have the answer to this oil theft, I wouldn't say palaver, but this oil theft matter, really?
You know that the oil theft matter is actually beyond the NNPC, and even as a private company now, the oil theft matter is a security issue. Actually, I think the NNPC people are probably at the marketing level. They are in Abuja, they are in Lagos, they are the places where you are selling the crude. The people who are seeing the drilling and the transition of that oil to the market, they are the ones who are behind this oil theft, and who need to take action to stop this oil theft. I'm talking of the security agencies. I'm talking of the guys at those who are there, who are the places where the crude oil is being drilled and then transmitted from there to barges and the rest of it and to the market. I think the president, and you know, fortunately, the president is the Minister of Petroleum Resources. The president is a general who is not retired. A general don't retire. And I think that the president needs to take this NNPC, this oil theft matter as serious as the security, as part of the holistic security crisis that we have in this country.
Okay.
You can't be a man who says, I'm poor, my salary is not enough for me, and then you are keeping your salary where people are stealing it.
Which is part of what we're going to focus on as we progress. But speaking about security agencies, look at the Abuja Inquirer. Mamu, DSS, Wants, Gumi, others. That's the big lead on the front page there. It says, courts will determine Mamu's fate. So there's a lot that's going to unravel with this arrest.
I agree with you. I agree with you that for the first time, I think that we are going beyond just saying, oh, they've killed one insurgent, or they've killed one commander, or oh, certain kidnappers have been killed, or people have been freed, who are kidnapped have been freed. Now we are going to the source of this kidnapping, the source of this insurgency, the source of this banditry. I think that with this, if our security people can really dig down, we'll discover a lot of things. And I think there is need for honesty in the investigation. There is honesty in the application of the law to deal with whoever is involved. And I think it may go beyond Mamu. Even the big wigs and the small people who are involved, the network, they can use this case to break the network.
So DSS, you have all the whatever they need. They say we should allow them to do their job. So go ahead, by all means, do the job as much as you can. Guys?
The leadership newspaper is next, Chamberlain, and on the front page you have this one. Isn't it interesting that we haven't really mentioned politics all the while? Well, here it is. Presidential primary fallout. We're aggrieved, but will remain in APC, as ascribed to Amechi Ono Wajuba. And look at the riders. Only PMB can say if Amechi was fairly treated, ascribed to an 8. Wajuba working with Uzodinma to rebrand party in Imo. All of that on page 4 of the leadership newspaper today. We're aggrieved, but will remain in APC. What's your take, Olaniyonu?
My brother, I think, you know, this story is, for the first time, what I'm saying, what I've always been saying, that it's not only PDP that has a major crisis in the party. I think they are just loud about their own. APC also has a very deep crisis within its fold. And this is an indication. This story just shows you that everything is done well in APC as well. And I believe that the two parties, you know, have maybe one of the reasons why they are not dealing decisively with their crisis, to tame the crisis, to settle the crisis, and get on to real politics, is because they know they have the luxury of time. Between now, this is the first time perhaps in this country when primary was held in May and first week of June, and election will hold until February, almost 8-9 months later. So because of that luxury of time, all of them are taking time over their crisis. They are allowing the crisis for some time. But I think these are issues that they all have to deal with before they start their campaign and before they go to election. I'm thinking that the next 1 month, particularly the month of October, will be very critical for all the parties, particularly the two major parties, the PDP and the APC. They need to quickly settle their crisis and move on to electioneering.
All right, so there you go. That ends a look at some of the dailies here this morning. Well, I'd like to thank you for coming on. Yusuf Olaniyonu is former Sunday editor of this day newspapers. Well, yes, we'll be back in a moment, but some traffic situation in Lagos about the expressway. Remember, guys, you did speak about the rains. Well, look at the scenario you're looking at right there. Actually, this traffic outward, no, I beg your pardon, into Lagos. So the flood around the Otedola end, the trailers just there obstructing the traffic. So always a headache, guys. How did you guys wade through that this morning, I wonder?
One thing I can tell you, Chamberlain, is that as at 5:10 a.m. when I passed that place this morning, it was blocked. And the tailback already went as far as Berger as at 5:10 this morning. And of course, one or two inquiries one would make will let you know that exactly what you said is what is responsible. Flooding on that bridge, and don't also forget that the bridge itself has been split into two for some repair works that is ongoing. Also, we are aware that there is serious traffic on the Long Bridge as well, occasioned by the same flooding. So one is wondering just what is responsible for the flooding on the bridge.
Well, clearly there's a water body just right under that bridge. But, well, perhaps drainage issues as well. There are lots of questions around that. But two concerns for me then would be the security on the bridge. Usually when you have traffic or things like that, you see these boys, men, whatever you want to call them, they come and then they rob people, smash and grab, they call them these days. And it's been on the rise, both on the mainland and on the island. So first, security, I think that should be well manned. And I mean, not just for the gram, as they say, not just to do patrol and put the pictures up. It should be there every single day. As much as we can, we should direct a lot of security manpower to that area. And two, traffic management. So when you have traffic on one side, you see people using the other side because they want to get where they're going fast enough. And that, because it's a highway, people are going at top speed. It's very hard to control. So we might have another situation in our hands. So I really desire that the FRSC, even LASMA, if LASMA wants to help, the Ogun State end as well, can come together and ensure that, riders, but motorcycle, I mean, that's another topic for another day. Motorcycle riders, the commercial drivers, private drivers, even trucks, don't use the other side and then face oncoming traffic and eventually cause another accident on our hands.
And I think that'll worry anyone will be the integrity of the bridge over time. Because, I mean, water has its own way of doing stuff. I trust that government officials are doing exactly what they need to do. We'll take a short break now, and it'll be time for us to take on the issues for the day right after now. Just stay with us.